Hi guys, another quick video on the Royal Enfield 500 Classic. This video is about bar end vibration and mirror shake. Now, during my recent trip to replace the battery on my Royal Enfield due to the fact that it had given up after 6 months, I have been up and down the motorway quite a few times lately and cruising at speeds of around 120 kph, which is roughly around 75 mile an hour. Now, previously a lot of questions and people have been asking about bar end shake and vibrations on the Royal Enfield, and in a previous video I mentioned a method of running in your Royal Enfield to eliminate bar end shake. In this video I'm going to go through basically my idea of running the Royal Enfield in at a certain period so that you eliminate vibrations through the bar ends and also the foot pegs. And you'll see on this video, as I get onto the motorway and accelerate up to about 120 kph, you can clearly see, looking at the video, in certain sections you can see the rear view mirrors, and you can see the image in the rear view mirrors is quite clear. There's no vibration in the bar ends up to 130 kph on my bike. Previously, from around 100 to certainly over 120, it was that bad that I used to get white finger, so it's quite excessive before. Okay, so we're going to be on the motorway in a couple of seconds, just after this roundabout. So keep an eye on the kilometres on the speedometer and also the rear view mirrors. You can see at lower speeds the vibration has reduced a lot. Yep, there you go. Drivers in Spain, most drivers in Spain haven't got a clue about roundabouts. They don't know where they should be, what lane they should be, etc. They also don't know what indicators are for, so it's great fun when you're out on a bike. Anyway, as I'm accelerating in the middle lane onto the motorway and accelerating up to 120, just keep an eye on the certain sections of video when you can see the speedometer. If you need to, pause the video to check the speed. I don't think in this video I actually go over 120 kph, but if you look in the rear view mirrors, I'm sort of looking in the mirror and looking from side to side. You can see in the left mirror now, probably around 120 kph at this point. See in the left mirror now, the view is very clear behind. You'll see a lot of Royal Enfield videos where the actual rear view mirror is shaking that bad, it's just a blur in the rear view mirror. Likewise on the right hand side, you should be able to see my right arm and sleeve blowing, and you can see that the video is quite clear there. Again, just watch the speedo and the kilometers per hour I'm actually doing and the different sections of this motorway, and just you'll basically see what my bike is doing and how it's reacting to vibrations, etc. Now in this section of motorway, it's pretty much a gradual incline going upwards. Like I say, I'm probably doing about 115, just under 120 kph. The bike, to be honest, has got a lot more in it, but when you're winding it over 120 up to 130, you're pushing it to the top end of its limit really. But to be honest, the following day to this, I actually took along the stretch of motorway again, and going down to Murcia City, there was a really bad headwind, and to be honest, on the motorway on an open bike with no fairing, if there's a headwind you're going to struggle anyway. But coming back with the tailwind behind me, I actually was doing about 140, 145 kph indicated on the speedo, and again, even at that speed there was no vibrations through the bar ends. It was really, really smooth. Okay, so what did I do to alleviate the bar end vibrations? I've not changed the bar end weights or anything like that. The bike's totally stock and nothing's been done to it. But I'd read on a few Royal Enfield forums, Indian forums, and also a guy who was replying to some of my videos on YouTube, suggested using the method during running of pushing the bike in second, third, fourth gear up to its 5,000 rev limit and holding it shortly at that sort of rev limit for a good couple of minutes, and then letting off and winding on again. So basically winding right up to the rev limit or slightly before the rev limiter. In the high gears it probably won't go right to the rev limiter, but the rev limiter is probably around 5,400 RPM, and at 5,000 you can tell you're at the top end of the rev range. What happens, you actually go through a rough spot where you've got the real bad vibrations into a smooth area where the vibrations smooth out. Now, if you go ahead and use this method, ideally you need at least 500 miles on the bike during the initial running before you start opening the bike up and pushing it to bed the piston in smoother. And again, it's totally on your own risk that you do this. Obviously the bike's under warranty and it's a fairly new bike if you're going to be doing this. But to be honest, I was a bit weary about doing it, but the results are amazing. You've got to do it periodically and you've got to do it carefully. So in second gear, wind it right on until you get to the rev limiter or near enough. Into third, right up to about 5,000 revs again, hold it for a few seconds. Into fourth, and intermittently do that up and down the rev range for the next 500 kilometers or so. And for some reason the effect seems to be that in the higher rev range the piston seems to bed better, or the piston rings seem to bed better within the cylinder, and you get a much smoother overall ride and vibration free ride throughout the rev range. So that's basically it. I've mentioned it in earlier videos. When I first read about it I thought it sounded a bit dodgy to do, to be honest, on a bike during running, but to be honest, it's the way it's done. It's designed to get a smoother bedding of your piston and the piston seat and piston rings, etc. So again, it's down to you whether you want to try this method, but it's worked perfectly for me right throughout the rev range now. My bike it vibrates if it's stood on the centre stand and you wind it on a bit, it'll bobble around a touch, but certainly out on the open road now there's no more vibration in my bar ends and foot pegs than a standard road bike really, so it's made a vast difference. So initially during the first 500 kilometers running this bike in, the bar end vibrations and foot peg vibrations were that bad that I used to get numb finger, numb feet, and it did cross my mind that I was never going to be able to use the bike over 90 kph, 100 kph, and to be honest that's one of the reasons I went on the internet and came across the solution that I used, which has been really good, and the bike sounds great, the engine sounds good, the exhaust notes good, so it's worked out really well for me. Anyway, take it with this video as I give it to you. It's on your own back if you want to try it. It's helped me. Do some more research, check it out on Google and see what you think, and if it's been useful to you this video, give me a like, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and you'll get notifications of my next videos.